Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. I'm Brendan Lee from thebrendanlee.com in support of consciousness and skill worldwide. Make it a movement. It's already starting. I want it to go big. I got a question. So I noticed that when I communicate and do my best to speak honestly, that there's this sensation in my experience of a bunch of lies, manipulations, exaggerations. Holy crap. Exaggerations, etc. That I feel like I'm almost fighting back and really just suppressing. What might you recommend for balancing speaking the truth while not going down an unhealthy route of suppressing emotional manipulations that likely have deep psychological aspects to them? Couple things. First of all, and this is in the context of just normal social interaction. First of all, I just got off a call with a client, and he mentioned writing to Peter, my teacher and mentor. Something about, well, how do I do something living life and then not. It's like I feel like I have all these neuroses and stuff like that. How do I interact with people? And Peter was quite simple in his reply, something along the lines of, don't share with people your neuroses, share with them your heart or your soul or, your passion or what it is you want to give. Share your heart, not like a foo-foo heart, like, oh my God, I'm going to share my heart and oh my God. But no, really, what's your, what's at the heart of your contribution or what's at the heart of yourself that's worth sharing. And so that's one thing, don't worry about your neuroses, just communicate from there, from your heart, whatever that is for you. And in addition to that, I would add something that I've got from my years as being an apprentice is there's an aspect of communicating that it goes like this. It's don't act out or suppress. Communicate. So what do we mean when we say don't act out and don't suppress? Well, acting out is like if I have an emotional thing going on and it means that I get angry at you and I need to put you down and shove you and whatever, or do something about my reaction to make me feel better. So I have to then control external circumstances to make me feel better. You see, this is acting out. We had somebody as an apprentice that they would constantly acting out their emotional upheaval as if blaming other people for how they felt and just acting from there and running this reaction machine, constantly acting out their stuff. And that's totally reactive, and it's not actual communication. It's simply reaction and trying to get the other person to act a certain way so that you feel better or manage external circumstance so that your own feelings are better, which means you have to control other people and control circumstance, which doesn't seem very healthy. So that's acting out. On the flip side of acting out, there's suppression, which is withholding all that stuff. Say I have this this ugly crap going on. I want to act it out, but instead of acting it out, I say, no, I'm not going to act it out. So it's like, that's like the person who's really angry, but they're like, I'm fine. I'm fine. See, and they're not fine. They're like stuffing it down in there, and they're going to have a blowout or go home and kick their dog or whatever. You see that? So suppression doesn't really work either. See, acting it out doesn't fix anything, and suppressing it doesn't work, and it's not healthy either. And it'll come out some other way, and like whack-a-mole, you hit it on one side, but it pops up somewhere else. You hit it, and it pops up somewhere else. You hit it, going back and forth. You see, that's how that works. And so then what do you do? You got this crap going on. You don't want to act it out. You don't want to suppress it. So we give you a third option, which is to communicate. Huh? Yeah, to communicate. So what does that look like? It might be like if I have some crap going on that I don't like, I could communicate the crap. not for the purpose of manipulating the other person, simply for the purpose of them getting it and understanding my experience. Now what would that look like? For example, I might be angry and then blaming somebody else for my anger. So instead of acting out the anger and like shutting them down or stuffing the anger, which isn't healthy, same with acting out, doesn't seem to empower healthy relationships. I could communicate. I could say, hey, look, person so-and-so, I'm actually experiencing a lot of anger right now. I feel really hurt, and I'm also wanting to blame you for my anger, and I am blaming you. You see? And so instead of trying to manipulate them with it, I just get it across. Like, this is what I'm doing. I'm angry and I'm blaming you. And the other person it may open them up to get that. Oh, you're blaming me. Huh. Like I have a great, excellent friend of mine, and we did a lot of work together as apprentices. Kevin. He's tall, skinny. Well, okay, not so skinny. Irish. I love Kevin. And, we've been through a lot of shit together. And at some point, I'm almost certain this occurred. Now, of course, my memory, I've noticed some things about my memory recently where I'm like, I am wrong about a lot of stuff. However, the thing that occurred, I just remember talking to Kevin sometime, and the conversation would go like, I would do something, and Kevin would be like, Brendan, I feel really hurt by that. And be like, got it, Kev, thanks. And boom, and we're done with it. Or vice versa. Like Kevin would do something and like, Kev, I'm really hurt and I really want to like make you wrong right now. And he's like, got it. And I'm like, okay, cool, thanks. And we move on. Who does that? Who does that, really? That's very rare. So that's a thing to do. You could do that. You could communicate like that. Not everybody's asking for that type of communication. And not everybody, people is probably going to throw people for a loop, but it is a possibility because we don't communicate like that. Now, on the flip side, or not on the flip side, but in addition to that type of communication, well, you may get, usually there's this other phenomena that looks like it occurs when, if somebody asks me, for example, hey, how are you doing today? And if I'm having a shitty day, I'll be like, I'm really having a shitty day. I don't like it. And I'm unhappy. And then they go, oh, and they start to do something about it. I don't want them to do something about it. I am simply communicating, but they don't get that because we're used to, if somebody says something like that, like they're feeling bad, all of a sudden we jump to action like, oh, we need to manage their feelings and make them feel better. Whereas in this case, in the actual communication, that's not needed or necessary. What's necessary is simply to get the experience of the other person, not to do anything about it. The doing is the getting of their experience. I'm not going to manage somebody else's experience if they tell me they're hurt. It's not my job. Depending on the circumstance, obviously. See, so those are some possibilities within the realm of communication with other people and then within the realm of being honest. Now, I don't need to communicate every little frickin' thing that I have going on. Nobody really wants to hear that, and nobody cares. And just because I don't communicate something doesn't mean I'm lying about it. Because I don't need to hide that thing from myself. Perhaps say I have some neuroses or something. I can let the neuroses be here. And so what? I have neuroses. All right, there you go. Do I need to share my neuroses? No. Does it mean I'm lying about it? No, because I'm not hiding it from myself. See? So I think sometimes people think that because they're not in their endeavors to be honest and to be open, they think that because they don't share something means that they're somehow bad or wrong. No. Some things you keep private, some things you can have public. And you can decide to do that or not. It doesn't matter ultimately. See, but these are just some other, I want to break down that assumption that because you don't share means you're somehow bad or wrong. No, you could just be keeping something private. Maybe it's not appropriate to share. And you determine that. Doesn't mean you're lying. The lying only happens when you lie. Like if you lie to yourself about it or if you lie to somebody else about it. See, you could say, maybe somebody asks me point blank about my neuroses and I'm not going to tell them. Then I could say, no, thank you. I'm not going to share that with you. See, I still maintain integrity. I don't share it. And I'm not lying. Yeah, I know that's going on. I don't need to tell you. I don't want to tell you. It's not going to happen. Or it is. Whatever. Okay. So regarding that, I think that about, so I notice I do my best to speak honestly, and there's this sensation of my experience of a bunch of lies. And I feel like I'm almost fighting back and really just suppressing. Yeah, you don't have to suppress them. You can just let them be there. What might you recommend for balancing speaking the truth while not going down an unhealthy route of suppressing emotional manipulations that likely have deep psychological, how do I manage that? Manage it however you want to. You decide what you want to communicate. And I would say the main thing is, like, don't lie to yourself about what's going on. That's probably the main thing. That's probably the hardest thing to do, is to not lie to yourself about what you have going on. And then regarding communication, like I said before, I think what I said covers it pretty well. So I hope that's useful. And please create some value for yourself about that. It's been real. Brendan Lee from thebrendanlee.com, in support of consciousness and skill worldwide. Make it happen. See ya.